Good morning and welcome to Mind the Moment Tuesdays. My name is Kell Julliard. I'm really thrilled to be here with you this morning as we practice meditative exercises that can help us in so many ways, optimizing focus and attention, reducing the pull of distractions, but really most important, improving our overall quality of life. So on this, at least where I am, beautiful Tuesday morning with bright blue skies and sunshine, I'd like to put a question in the chat and for us all to consider. What is something nice that you've done for yourself lately? We often focus on other people and doing nice things for them. So this is a chance to think about some act of kindness, some, well, I'm calling it warmth of heart that you've showed to yourself lately. So just take a moment to reflect on that. And if you feel comfortable doing so, type something in the chat. Oh, the first two comments I see are working on my garden, bought plants for the garden. I can definitely relate to that one. Make time to take myself out for coffee. I did that myself on Saturday. It's a very unusual for me to take myself out for coffee, and it felt like a really sweet thing to do. Fit in a walk in the morning, greeted dawn at the beach today. Wow, these are lovely. Took a long hot bath after working in the yard. Mm. That's what I'm going to do next time. What a great idea. Going for a walk. Yeah, I spent time with friends a lot this weekend. That was really an act of kindness for myself. Okay, well, thanks so much, and continue to key stuff in if the stuff comes up. So this week we're going to really focus on that warmth of heart, really, and loving kindness specifically for ourselves. It used to be that self-esteem was the buzzword for what we're lacking. If we just developed our self-esteem, that would solve a whole host of problems. But it turns out self-esteem can be conditional. It's depending on that we're great, that we're wonderful, and that we've got so many fabulous qualities. But sometimes we don't feel that way. And sometimes in life, we just fall flat on our faces. And so, what researchers and teachers of meditation are really finding to be a much more useful, practical way of thinking about this is to think about cultivating self-compassion. Self-compassion has hundreds, in fact, thousands of research studies that have been done on it, believe it or not. And they really point in significant directions as to how self-compassion actually helps us be more resilient in the face of life's challenges. It actually helps us take responsibility when we're wrong. And it helps us achieve our goals to be successful because, really, self-compassion doesn't mean sitting around feeling sorry for yourself. If there's a goal that's really important to you, then it really means putting energy and effort into that goal, recognizing the importance that that goal has in your life. I'm seeing one more thing in the chat, giving myself time for focused, enjoyable reading. That's something I can relate to. I'm a voracious reader, and I get such joy out of that, such enrichment. But to come back to self-compassion for a moment, it can really be a long journey for many of us. It certainly was for me. It can take years, really, to tap into and cultivate self-compassion. But this journey is so worth the effort. And at the end of today, I'm going to share a resource that I found extraordinarily helpful. Okay, so let's move right into our meditation. As usual, today we're going to do a 12-minute guided meditation. Amishi Jha found that 12 minutes is kind of the sweet spot if you want to see benefit sooner rather than later from meditation. Of course, we get benefit whatever amount we do. A minute or two every day can actually create benefit. But if we want to see results the more quickly, 12 minutes or more seems to be what research indicates as the amount that would be helpful. So, to move into our meditation with self-compassion, take a moment to check in with your posture. We want to bring kindness to our body and find a posture that feels stable, well-grounded, and relaxed. Our spine is comfortably upright in whatever way helps us feel in balance, to put the least amount of effort into sitting upright. But we want an upright posture because it fosters presence and alertness and helps us stay in the moment. Now, you can do this with eyes open or eyes closed, whatever feels most comfortable to you. So just bring awareness to awareness itself, noticing that you're aware and alive in this moment, letting go of any preoccupations, what happened before now, just letting your mind and heart rest here and now, savoring this present moment where we're safe, peaceful, and together in this community of choice that we've created this morning. In this open spaciousness of our minds, there's no need to block any aspect of experience. Sensations, sounds, body sensations, thoughts and feelings can arise and pass away. Just notice that they arise in the space of awareness, which is always bigger than they are. And now take a moment to tune into what brought you here. What's your motivation for coming to this Mind the Moment Tuesday session? And just notice that whatever brought you here, there's a component of that that is the wish to be happy, whatever form that word takes for you. Happy as a word doesn't work for everybody, but it could be peaceful, content, having a sense of well-being. It could be energized. There's many, many synonyms we could come up with for this word happiness. So just notice that there's some positive direction that was guiding you to be here this morning, to bring something that we could call happiness more into your awareness and into your life. And this wish for happiness is itself love. It's that warmth of heart that we can extend to ourselves and others. So just take a moment to notice that just by your being here in this session, you're in touch with and expressing that wish for happiness, that warmth of heart, that love that radiates for yourself and others. In fact, for all of us humans, this wish permeates everything we do, on screen or off, every blink of an eye, every movement to get a little more comfortable in your chair, your interest in and willingness to meditate. So just take a moment to notice the pervasiveness of that wish, that love in our lives. We don't always recognize or nurture that love. And so that's what we're going to do in this meditation. We're going to explore 3 ways to do that. I'm going to invite you to put a hand on your heart or on your shoulder with a sense of comfort and affirmation, just the warmth of touch. And see if for you that hand on the heart feels like an expression of love, affection, wish for happiness for yourself. A sense of comfort, of peace, of being there for yourself, being your own best friend, a warmth of heart directed towards ourselves. You can move your hand a little if that would help the feeling of warmth sink in a little bit. And you might notice with each out breath comes a spontaneous relaxation. So just noticing the out breath and letting that relaxation happen and bring a sense of ease to yourself in this moment. Feel free to keep your hand where it is, but we're going to move into the second way of nurturing this warmth of heart for ourselves. Just see if you can imagine yourself surrounded by a warm glow of love in some color that expresses warmth and love to you. Or maybe in your imagination, you can imagine receiving a hug and feeling that hug surrounding you. So we're using our imagination, we're using images to cultivate this sense of sending loving kindness to ourselves, surrounded by a warm glow, the feeling of a warm, accepting hug. And the third way I'm going to suggest for nurturing this warmth of heart towards ourselves is through phrases that we repeat softly or silently within our minds. And I'm going to say a number of phrases. See if any of them resonate for you. Feel free to come up with a phrase that fits you in this moment, or to see if any of the phrases I suggest resonate. May I find comfort. May I have health. May I know calm and peace. May I be loved, supported, and understood. May I be safe. May my needs be met. May I have rich and rewarding relationships. May I receive the guidance and help I need. May my life be full of meaning. May I realize my dreams and aspirations. May I be successful in achieving my goals. So, whether it's one of these phrases or a phrase you've come up with for yourself, see if you can repeat that silently or softly and sincerely to yourself, directing that wish to you. And now, letting go of the phrases or images, let your mind and heart just rest. Resting in open awareness, letting any experience come and go, but not getting lost in them. Knowing that you're aware and here in this present moment. Okay. You might just stretch a little bit, look around, Appreciate all the names in the participants list. We're here together this morning doing this practice. And I'm going to invite you to type in the chat any experience you had with that practice, any insights around self-compassion, anything about your own journey with self-compassion that might be helpful, or perhaps you have a question that would be helpful to consider related to self-compassion. And I'm certainly happy to answer questions about meditation practice in general. If there's anything that you've been wanting to ask a teacher, would be happy to entertain those questions. So your experiences, insights, questions would be most welcome. And while you're reflecting on that, I'm going to share just a little bit about my own journey with self-compassion. I remember when I first started leading meditation, I was leading a group in New York City for a number of years. And the topic for that evening was going to be self-compassion. And as I was walking to the meeting and or riding the subway, actually, and looking at the outline, thinking, oh no, not that again. And the light bulb went on that not that again meant that I was not extending compassion to myself, that there was some resistance to that. And that was really a wake-up moment for me. So I felt like as I led the session, that it was as much for me as it was for any of the participants. And during the practice, I really felt my heart open to myself and that warmth of heart flow forth. And I realized that my lack of self-compassion was why my life was feeling dry, why it was feeling sort of like a chore. And since that moment, I've been really joyfully recognizing the importance of self-compassion and really bringing that into my daily life. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later, but I'm seeing a number of things come in the chat. One, it's been a while since I focused on loving myself. So I bet you can relate to the story I just told. And I see the next comment. At first, my mantra was, may I not worry, but then I thought better to reframe it in the positive. So I changed it to, may I live with ease. Great, great. I love that. May I live with ease. And then I see thinking about it as a journey helps remind me it's an ongoing process of cultivation, not something you have or you don't. And the research has really emphasized this, that there's been a bunch of research around teaching self-compassion to people from a variety of cultures, geographical locations, ages, genders. Everybody can cultivate self-compassion. There's nothing about us, whether how we're old, young, male, female, non-binary, there's nothing about us that is a barrier. We just have to hold the intention to do it. Let's see here, the next comment. I found myself trying to turn the phrases on my children versus myself. Nothing wrong with that. Just don't leave yourself out. But I stayed focused on myself and understood the benefit would flow outward. Absolutely. That peace and sense of caring for ourselves really builds a bridge into our understanding of others and our ability to recognize their wish to be happy, even if it looks very different from ours. So yes, understanding how that benefit flows outward is so great. So I see a question here. Does the acquisition of self-compassion have ups and downs, or once embraced, does it remain an inner strength? Well, I would say a little bit of both. It definitely has ups and downs, no question. Some days it's easier than others. Some days it might be inaccessible, or some moments. But I think once once, at least speaking for myself, once I really experienced it, it was a real watershed. It was like there was no going back. I knew the benefit, and I knew from my own experience what it really felt like and what it could do for me, and that I could access it. And these practices, I remember the first time I was encouraged to say phrases like the ones we said today. They just felt hokey to me. I'm like, you really want me to repeat this phrase over and over again? That feels so corny, so false, so forced. And I thought, okay, all right, I'll give it a try. And after about 4 or 5 repetitions of the phrase, I felt my heart open. And I'm like, wow, this simple, corny, hokey thing actually works. So the thing is, you've got to remember to do it. And that's something I'm going to talk about in a moment, about bringing it into the flow of life. So it has remained an inner strength, but I've had to build it into my life as a habit of something that if it's gone, if it's not there, if I'm in a challenging situation, it's that I have to remember to access self-compassion. And that is a habit. And if I don't cultivate that habit, then it tends not to be so easy. So I see a comment to Kristen: this practice helped me know the compassion to self makes me more helpful to those I love. I couldn't agree with that more. So how do we bring this into the flow of life? Basically, I've got a habit. Whenever a challenging feeling or situation comes up, I drop into self-compassion in some way. I might use the images, I might use the phrases, I might just put a hand on my heart, but I definitely rely on these techniques. I remember walking home from work and being really angry about something and thinking, wow, I'm suffering with this anger right now. I'm in a place of real pain with this anger. And can I just hold myself with compassion? And of course, it didn't make the situation go away, but it brought so much ease to my life. And instead of being consumed or identified with the anger, it really helped me step back from that and not be like completely lost in the anger. So I found self-compassion to be super helpful, to tap into any of these simple practices in the flow of life. Now, I've just put a resource in the chat for you all. The selfcompassion.org website of Kristen Neff is a spectacular resource, self-compassion.org. She's one of the lead compassion researchers worldwide. She's got guided meditations, and that's what I've put in the chat. But she's also got links to research, other resources that you can access. There's a mindful self-compassion workbook that's really excellent if self-compassion is something you have challenges with. So I highly recommend you taking advantage of this free website that has so much good stuff. Okay, we're out of time. It's 9 a.m. I want to say thanks for joining. We hope to see you back next Tuesday when another teacher will be present, but have a wonderful week and keep that self-compassion alive.